What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today's video, we're going to give you our Week 5 NFL predictions for every game this week. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick, week 5 is upon us, and we have some absolute incredible matchups here. And we're going to start off with one of the best of the weekend on Thursday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams facing the Seattle Seahawks in a divisional matchup. Who do you like in this matchup, and what stands out to you most?
Yeah, we've got a great matchup on Thursday night, great divisional matchup. The Los Angeles Rams headed to Seattle, a big game. The Seattle Seahawks coming off of a big win. The Los Angeles Rams coming off of their first loss of the season. I think the Rams are out for revenge, and I think they're willing to do anything it takes to get that big W to prove that they are one of, if not the best team in the NFL still. The Rams have a lot to prove on both sides of the ball, and I don't think that the Seattle Seahawks offense or defense is capable of taking this challenge on. The Rams are going to have a very smooth and easy victory on Thursday night. And that leads us into Sunday's game, which start off early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. They are headed to London, where the Atlanta Falcons take on the New York Jets. This is going to be a big game. Who do you got in this one, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, the Jets and the Falcons, I'm going to sleep right through this game, let me tell you. But when it's all said and done, the Jets got lucky that the Tennessee Titans didn't have Julio Jones or A.J. Brown, and it still went to overtime. I mean, that's how bad this team is. The Atlanta Falcons have looked pretty bad themselves, but they still have Calvin Ridley. They still have Kyle Pitts. Cordero Patterson has found a life as a running back, apparently. Mike Davis is going to show up against this defensive front. I like the Falcons here. I think that they have the wherewithal to take on the New York Jets. Matt Ryan is no Ryan Tannehill. I believe that he's going to be able to command a passing offense that's going to torch the secondary. You can take a look at the stats all you want, saying that the Jets are a really good pass defense, but the fact of the matter is most teams aren't passing the ball because they simply don't have to. I mean, the repetitions there are just not there for the cornerbacks of the New York Jets. So I have the Falcons in this one. I think it's going to be a blowout early and often. Next up, starting off with the 1 o'clock matchups, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Carolina Panthers. Nick, who you got in this one?
The Carolina Panthers are looking for revenge after that first loss to the Dallas Cowboys. They're now back at home. Sam Darnold looking fantastic, especially in the run game. Shocking, I know. But it is the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is going to be a very smooth and easy victory for the Carolina Panthers. I really like what Sam Darnold and DJ Moore are doing right now, and that defense. They lost some guys in that secondary, but they added CJ Henderson. I really believe that he's going to have a big week against Devonta Smith. I expect that the Eagles are going to continue with their struggles, continue with their woes, and the Panthers are going to come out on top and be 4-1 to start the season. In the next 1 o'clock matchup, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in what is a great matchup. 2 3-1 teams. This is going to be one tough matchup for both sides, but who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals are 3-1, but they did struggle against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Packers, outside of that horrific start to the season that they had in week 1, have looked like the Packers of old. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. There's nothing that this three-headed monster can't do on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think the Bengals have the requisite talent to be able to handle that, and on top of that, I don't think Joe Burrow can match wits with Aaron Rodgers. So I have the Packers in this one. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair on both sides. I believe the Bengals will get somewhere around 20, maybe even 25 points. I think the Packers are going to put up at least 30 on the Bengals. Next up, we have the New England Patriots taking on yet another former Patriot. This time, not Tom Brady, though. Nick Casario in his new home with the Houston Texans. Nick, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I really like the Patriots. I think this is a comeback week for them. The Houston Texans have looked fairly solid except for their game against the Buffalo Bills. But then again, who's looking good against the Buffalo Bills right now? Davis Mills is looking to rebound. Two rookie quarterbacks going after each other. I think this is going to be great, but I think the Patriots and Bill Belichick are going to have something in store for Nick Casario and the rest of this Houston Texans team. I think that Bill Belichick cannot let another Patriots game skid by them with another L on the season, and they're looking to correct this ship once and for all. The Patriots will come out on top in Houston. In our next matchup, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in a very boring divisional matchup, but I want to get your take on this one, Mike. Who do you have?
I have the Titans in this one. Yet another road team that seems to be scraping by with a victory. But the Tennessee Titans, they lost to the Jets, but that also came with the fact that, again, no A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones. I like Julio Jones coming back. Maybe A.J. Brown, but probably not. Derrick Henry still ran for 150 yards on the Jets, and he's going to do more than that against the Jaguars. On top of the fact that, again, Julio Jones is back. Ryan Tannehill has somebody to throw to. Josh Reynolds did not work out last week. It's time for this offense to get right. The defense, Mike Vrabel's got to do something. I think this is a get right week for them as well. Trevor Lawrence in this Jaguars offense has not looked solid. No DJ Chark. I just think the Tennessee Titans have everything going their way, and they're going to come out on top with the victory. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in what should be a high profile matchup, although Teddy Bridgewater will not be a part of it. Nick, who do you got?
Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation for Denver. Having a great start to the season, losing Teddy Bridgewater is a big impact to this team, goes along with the other offensive injuries they have suffered this year. And then we have on the Pittsburgh Steelers a lot of injuries as well, but I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the stronger team in this matchup. I believe that without Teddy Bridgewater, there's a lot more volatility to the Broncos offense, and I think TJ Watt is ready to get back to his sackmaster ways. It's going to be a tough day for Drew Lock, and I expect Big Ben to finally get another W. The Pittsburgh Steelers come out on top in this big matchup. Now, in the next matchup, we have two more reliable quarterbacks than Drew Lock, and I use that term a little bit loosely. Jameis Winston and Taylor Heineke going up against each other. It's going to be, another boring matchup. But, Mike, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I like the Saints here. I think the Washington football team defense has been exposed week in and week out, especially on the back end. Now, obviously, there's nothing to write home about the weapons that Jameis Winston has outside of Alvin Kamara, but the defensive line has not looked the same for Washington. While they're doing their thing against the run, they are just not rushing the passer the way we have seen in seasons past. It seems like Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, seems like these guys are a step slower than we have come to expect from them. So at the end of the day, Taylor Heineke, he's got a really tough defense to go against between Demario David, Malcolm Jenkins, all these guys that can come after you. We saw what the Saints can do against the New England Patriots. I think they're going to have another victory just like that. I believe that the Saints come out on top in this one pretty easily. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins heading west to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in what is a Florida showdown. Taking a look at these two rosters, Nick, what do you see happening in this matchup?
Yeah, it's another very clear-cut victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not going to be like the Patriots. The Miami Dolphins are falling very quickly, and Jacoby Brissett is proving that he is truly just a backup. The Miami Dolphins offense and defense is not going to be able to do anything against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I expect that Tom Brady is going to be very similar to his performance in New England. He's going to let the running backs do the job, because if he doesn't have to, then why does he? Let him rest. Let him take his time, because it's a longer season and that old man needs his rest. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. A very easy victory for them. In our next matchup, we have another divisional game. The Detroit Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you have in this one, Michael?
Yeah, in this one, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Detroit Lions had started to show that they weren't the Lions that we thought they were until they took on the Chicago Bears, of course. Then all of a sudden, they reverted to be the Lions that we thought they could be. You know, Jared Goff, he did not look the same as he did in the first 3 weeks. DeAndre Swift literally performed a great magic trick by just vanishing before our very eyes. Nobody wants to step on Nobody wants to step up on the offensive side of the ball to help out Jared Goff in this offense. TJ Hawkinson even fell a little bit here. So at the end of the day, the Minnesota Vikings, while this is a divisional matchup game, Everson Griffin gets a little retribution for the Lions not holding on to him. The Lions are still in that rebuild. Dan Campbell will keep the game competitive, but Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, that's enough said. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and this ought to be an interesting one. Nick, who do you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot closer than we expected to be. The Las Vegas Raiders finally took their first L of the season on Monday night, and I don't think that's where it stops. I think the Chicago Bears are going to be a very tough task. Justin Fields is looking better with each start he has, and I believe he gets another start in this one before Andy Dalton makes his return. He's going to prove a lot in this one, make Matt Nagy think twice about his decision. I think that the Chicago Bears defense needs to be a little bit more respected, and they're going to make Derek Carr struggle a little bit in this one. I think the Chicago Bears come out on top with a surprise victory. In the next matchup, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Los Angeles Chargers in what should be a very exciting game, unless you look at last week's game. But nonetheless, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Yeah, listen, the Cleveland Browns defense is definitely not one that you should reckon with. Honestly, the Chargers have a lot stacked against them right now, but at the end of the day, I just cannot rely on Baker Mayfield and his lack of rapport with Odell Beckham Jr. While they have the running backs to be able to run all over the Chargers, it just seems like Kevin Stefanski is hell bent on getting this passing game going, and it is not working this season for whatever reason. Obviously, Jarvis Landry is the go to guy for Baker Mayfield, but he has to figure out the rapport with OBJ. He really does. I mean, at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns are only going to go as far as Baker gets them, because while Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are incredible running backs, they are not going to be able to carry the load for this offense. They're going to have to be able to put up points, and I think the Chargers can put up points on this defense. I'm actually taking the Chargers in a really close matchup here. I like what Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen can do in this one. For our next 4 o'clock matchup, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals in yet another NFC West divisional matchup. 49ers obviously without Jimmy Garoppolo this week, starting rookie quarterback Trey Lance. Nick, what do you foresee happening in this one?
I foresee Trey Lance starting his first game with an L. The 49ers are struggling right now. Trey Lance, he had a solid stat line, but when you look at the tape, it wasn't so pretty. He got lucky with an 80-yard bomb to Deebo Samuel. I don't think that's going to happen, especially when you look at what the Arizona Cardinals just did against the Los Angeles Rams, who are one of the best teams in the NFL. The Cardinals are making their presence felt, and they're going to do it once again against their other divisional rival, the 49ers. It's going to be a bad day for Trey Lance. And we continue with the trend of divisional matchups as the New York Giants take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a very exciting game as the Giants came away with their first victory in Week 4. Do they keep this going, Mike?
Listen, a third straight game in Jerry World? How about them Cowboys? Listen, this is a divisional matchup, and while the Giants and Cowboys obviously have the storied history that they do, the fact of the matter is that this is not the old Giants team. They can't get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. They can't really cover on the back end. They struggle on offense, really getting things going, especially without Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, who are yet to be known whether they're going to be playing or not. Kenny Galladay, not a guy that I'm really worried about as far as Trayvon Diggs covering him like a shadow this week. So when it's all said and done, I think everything points in the way of the Dallas Cowboys. And I like what they have been able to do with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, really rotating these backs, keeping them fresh, and keeping them honestly going really well throughout the entire course of the game, not giving up on the run when it's not working. I think Mike McCarthy and this offense has really learned. I think Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, and this offense have really figured out how to coexist and really work off of their strengths and weaknesses. At the end of the day, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, they are going to put up points, and they're going to do it in a hurry. I like the Dallas Cowboys in this one, and it's not going to be close. For our Sunday night football matchup, we have the Buffalo Bills traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill look like they rejuvenated their relationship with 186 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Nick, who do you got in this one?
The Chiefs look fantastic against the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Buffalo Bills have had 2 shutout games so far this season. Now, you're not going to hold the Kansas City Chiefs to 0 points, but I believe the Buffalo Bills defense and offense is way stronger than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. I think Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are ready to take over as the best team in the AFC, and they do that taking on the AFC champions. I believe that the Buffalo Bills will come out on top in a big statement win over the Kansas City Chiefs. In our final game of the week on Monday night, we have a very mediocre matchup as the Indianapolis Colts take on the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson looking to string a couple wins together. Does he make it happen?
Does he make it happen? I believe he does. The fact of the matter is that the Baltimore Ravens have an X factor that can never be replicated in practice, that being Lamar Jackson. Now, he had some bumps in the road, obviously, with some of the games that we've seen all year round. But the fact of the matter is that they did come out with victories multiple times, even when things did not look great. They have Justin Tucker. They have an incredible offense that they can rely on, and a defense that is still figuring things out. They're still one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. And when you have an Indianapolis Colts team that doesn't know whether Carson Wentz is going to break at any second, I'm going to have to go with the Ravens at home on Monday night under the lights. There's just too much going against the Colts here. I like the Ravens on Monday Night Football. All right, well, that's going to do it for our predictions, but I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of our predictions, which one you think we got right, which ones you think we got wrong. Let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.